Come on. We will win. Because we will hit all game. We are motivated. We are dedicated. Come on now. Come on now. We will win. Because we are the best on the field. And we hit the field like, all day like, all night like, on the blue light, offense like, defense like, his squad like, house call like, and it sound like, and it sound like, and it sound like.
Welcome to the Short Sports Show. I'm your host, Daniel Short. Today is Friday, May 5th, Cinco de Mayo today, 2017. We got a lot to talk about. I'm excited for the show. A couple things we're going to talk about. Could we see a university from Mexico join the NCAA? It can happen, and it should happen, people. And it's perfect time to talk about it. Cinco de Mayo. Woo! Bengals rookie and NFL Combine record holder gets called out on his speed. Talk about that. Nick Saban gets a huge pay raise and what that could mean for other college coaches. New Orleans Saints running back Adrian Peterson wants revenge on the Vikings. And could CP3 sign with the San Antonio Spurs this offseason? Lots to talk about. I'm excited. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And I told you guys we're going to have some news. Well, the Short Sports Show, again, it's still going to be every Friday morning. We're always going to do it every Friday morning. It's perfect time for us. But we will also be uploading, just like we have been this past week, on YouTube. Multiple videos on YouTube. It's going to be, right now, just a tentative schedule of guaranteed videos every Tuesday, Wednesday. Those for sure, we will have videos. Sometimes we'll have videos on the weekend. Sometimes we'll have videos Monday. We might have videos every single day. Could happen. But for sure, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, of course, our show on Friday. More involved with YouTube, and I'm excited for that. And so far, pretty good support. I appreciate it, guys. But first, before we start, let's give a shout out to our sponsor, Intergrind. Check them out. Today's show is sponsored by Intergrind. Based out of Houston, Texas, let former Texas State linebacker Michael Rakpo help you reach your fitness and nutrition goals. With personal training classes that start at $40 a session, why not be a part of this rising program? And whether your goals are to lose weight, gain muscle mass, find the right off-season program, or even for you ladies out there to get that booty blast, you can do it all with Intergrind. Not a Houston area, not a problem. Intergrind has a program that is personalized just for you. Intergrind has everything you need to meet your personal and healthy goals. NFL linebackers like Titans Brian Orakpo, Chiefs Derek Johnson, Buccaneers running back Charles Sims, and San Diego Chargers cornerback Craig Mager, along with many other young athletes, have already begun. Find your personalized workout and nutrition plan at Intergrind.com and call 832-475-2829. That's Intergrind.com, 832-475-2829. Unleash your inner grind. The New York Times reported SetEase University, a private school around 3,000 students in Mexico, could join the NCAA. And this would be huge. Now, last week, the NCAA made a pilot program that to allow divisions to invite members in Canada and in Mexico permanent, and to make it easier for SetEase to apply. Now, they would look to join the CCAA, which is Division II, full of leagues in California, including Chico State, UC San Diego, and San Francisco State. Now, this isn't the first time a school from Mexico has tried to join the NCAA. Now, back in 2013, Mexico powerhouse Monterrey Tech looked to join, but unfortunately was voted down. Now, this would be huge. Allowing SetEase to make the jump into division, NCAA, would give increased opportunities to student athletes in Mexico and eventually, hopefully, in Canada as well. And they would face higher competition in football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, etc. Goes on and on. And it could help grow the infrastructure of the country. Now, it's only about an hour drive from San Diego, so it isn't too far. And it could help save travel costs and help make scheduling a little bit easier for some of those schools as well. Now, the CCAA does not sponsor football, so SetEase would most likely join the Great Northwest Conference to make that happen and play in that. Sadly, there are challenges in this great opportunity. Now, any school who plays SetEase or any other Mexican university, they would have to make sure all the student athletes, the staff, the coaches, anybody that travels would have to get passports and visas. And while to an average person that might be like, oh, that's a simple thing, to get every single student athlete, staff, and coaching member one of those in time, who's paying for it? NCAA rules, who knows? It could create headaches upon headaches with undermanned athletic departments and being in Division II. That's where you sort of get into that. This isn't like Alabama trying to get one of those. Alabama probably could do all of that. But unfortunately, some of the other Division II schools could run into a problem. Now, Set Ease also already plays exhibition games against schools in America, but then regularly playing schools in America, you would have to go with their rules. And because of that, you would have to adjust to the rules. Some of the equipment, now, for example, baseball, their team, Set Ease, uses wooden bats. Now, in the NCAA, you use aluminum bats. It's a small little thing like that, but it does. There are changes that would have to happen. And sadly, because of politics, that plays into a role with this. Now, the relationship between the United States and Mexico could be drastically different between now and 4 to 8 years from now. So that will also have to play an effect with this. Now, according to the Times, though, a division-wide vote could come as soon as January, which means Set Ease could begin a 3-year provisional membership next year in 2018 and slowly make their path into the NCAA, which would be amazing. I think it'd be huge. I think more schools from Mexico and schools in Canada to join the NCAA would be absolutely amazing. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Also tweet me at Short Sports Show. Now, Nick Saban, he was given a 3-year extension during a vote of Alabama's Board of Trustees on Tuesday morning. He will receive a $4 million signing bonus and make $6.725 million in salary this year alone. He also gets another $400,000 for completing the season and bringing his total compensation for the year to $11.125 million. It's not bad. Now, Saban is the second highest paid coach, believe it or not, in annual compensation in college football, behind Michigan's Jim Harbaugh, who makes a salary of $9 million per year. Now, according to USA Today's database, Urban Meyer of Ohio State is third among college football and coaches in compensation, roughly about $6 million per year, while Oklahoma Bob Stoops and Florida State's Jimbo Fisher round out the top 5. Now, because of this deal, it could mean a lot of things for college coaches. It might increase college coaching pay. Now, in case you don't know how it works in collegiate sports, now, yes, a coach can make, like Nick Saban, going to make $11 million. They are not the highest paid at that university. Now, it might be different for private institutions, but in public schools across the country, the president of the university must be the highest paid employee. So the Alabama president is sitting pretty high and is pretty happy that Alabama's Nick Saban continues to get paid high, because that means he gets a raise as well. And it could just be $1 more, but hey, that's all that means. He's getting paid bucks. Some good amount. So check this out. So this past week, some pretty interesting stuff. Now, a Hillsborough County, Florida judge called out South Florida head coach Charlie Strong and one of his players on Wednesday. Now, this has been getting around, and some extra things have happened on Thursday. Now, at a hearing in the case of South Florida defensive end Ladarius Jackson, who was charged with sexual battery and false imprisonment, stemming from an incident earlier this week, Judge Margaret Taylor said she was ashamed to be an alumnus of the school and questioned whether Charlie Strong had control of his players. Jackson is just the second South Florida player to be charged with violent crimes in the past 2 months. In late March, defensive back Hassan Childs was charged with aggravated assault and marijuana possession in an incident which he was shot 3 times. Strong later dismissed Childs from the team. Now, Judge Taylor said this, quote, Coach Strong, if you are listening, when she knew damn well he would hear about this. In the last couple months, there have been 2 arrests of your players for very violent felonies. This court, and I'm sure I'm not alone, questions whether you have control over your players. It's fairly clear you do not have control of them off the field. And I guess only time will tell whether you have control of them on the field. I would implore you to think long and hard about whether being head coach at USF, I can't read, is a good fit for you before any other members of this community have to suffer at the hands of one of your players, end quote. Yikes. Pretty strong statement from her. Now, Charlie Strong responded back in a statement later released on Wednesday that he was disappointed and that the 2 players' arrest had harmed the reputation of our program and my character, end quote. Now, this judge, 2 days after saying this quote, has now took herself off, I guess, the case. She's no longer the judge on this. She backed out, and I guess she heard from other alumni or I don't know, some friends, people above her. I really don't know how it works, but she backed out of it. She was no longer involved in it. So it's pretty weird when you go from one side, so very strong words. I mean, the main thing is saying, I would you to implore to think long and hard about whether being the head coach at USF, I keep saying UCF. USF is a good fit for you. That is just strong. Some strong words. And then now she's just off the case. She's just not doing anything anymore. So, I don't know. Charlie Strong, I still believe in him. Remember what happened at Texas? He had to kick off 15 plus players. At USF, you know, it just happens. It just happens. I don't think this is on him. These players were there before Charlie Strong got there. These weren't guys that he recruited. So to blame all this on Charlie Strong and say he's a bad mentor or bad leader for the university is pretty stupid to say just right now. But I'm sure he has made a statement to his kids and saying, any small thing, you're off the team. Because now everybody's looking at me once again. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell is exploring the possibility of allowing weed with players and making it somewhat legal in those that it's already legal in. Goodell said in an interview with ESPN that he continues to believe that marijuana is bad for players, saying, quote, I think you still have to look at a lot of aspects of marijuana use. Is it something that can be negative to the health of our players? Listen, you're ingesting smoke. So that's not usually a very positive thing that people would say. It does have an addictive nature. There are a lot of things, a lot of compounds in marijuana that may not be healthy for the players long term. All those things have to be considered. And it's not as simple as someone just wants to feel better after a game. We really want to help our players in that circumstance, but I want to make sure that negative consequences are not something that will be held accountable for some years down the road. Now, he did acknowledge, however, that the growing body of evidence that marijuana can be used for medical reasons. So even as the number of states in the United States that have legalized marijuana, the NFL still appears to be some time away. Now, throughout the CBA, that it's mainly for the CBA. Now, that ends in 2020. That's when it comes up, and that's when they'll renegotiate, hopefully no lockout. And, of course, this will be a topic that will come up. And for players, this is something they're pushing for. And the Players Union is most likely going to get it done. Now, Jerry Jones, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, said in a recent meeting of the NFL owners meeting that the league should drop its probation on marijuana use. Now, the NFL, they test for weed once a year. And these players know when the test is. The problem is many players fail the test. Now, the NFL players are banned from any drug use any purposes under the existing CBA. Now, here's some of the things. Now, the players are saying, look, we'd rather smoke marijuana than have the painkillers, which apparently, according to the Post, said they average about 6 to 7 pain pills or injections a week per player over the course of a typical NFL season. Now, a 2014 review of 39 studies investigating the efficacy of opiate painkillers for chronic pain found that, quote, evidence on long-term opioid therapy for chronic pain is very limited, but suggests an increase in serious risk of serious harms and that appear to be a dose dependent. In other words, there's little evidence of benefit for treating chronic pain with opioids, but there's a real risk in using them. Now, so it kind of also becomes a topic of should they use painkillers or weed? Now, opiate painkillers, like those ones that are prescribed by just about everybody in the NFL, the teams, kill over 15,000 people a year via overdose. And, well, there hasn't been no one has ever died from marijuana overdose. But here comes the problem, and this is really unusual for me, that I agree with Roger Goodell in this. It looks like marijuana does have an addictive nature. And before you say, no, it's not, because most people don't actually go and look and research stuff. Now, despite mixed reports current right now, Dallas Cowboys defensive end Randy Gregory, he was reported for failing his 7th drug test in just 2 years. He's failed, to get an overall perspective of this, he's failed 1 drug test for every 2 games that he's played in his career. Think about that. Now, either marijuana is addictive, because we have Randy Gregory's not the only player, he's just the most current right now to be in the situation, or it makes you stupid, or both. Because apparently, to many athletes, smoking a joint is much more worth it than supporting their families and making a living. Now, Gregory, he's already been banned for the 2017 season because he can't pass a drug test. Now, the Cowboys say they're in full support of Gregory and they're going to try to help him out, but they've been in this situation before. We've seen Joseph Randle. We've seen Rolando McClain. The difference is Randle, he was just about a lost cause. McClain, he'd rather be on purple drink than play defense. And I'm not the only one with his opinion. The Fort Worth Star-Telegram said in an article on Gregory, quote, he's either tragically stupid or he has a serious problem or both. So there's something happening, and there's one of the reasons that marijuana is not legal in the NFL, of course, the states that are already legal. Now, while there is evidence to suggest a rampant use of marijuana before 25 can be highly detrimental to brain development, when used in moderation, it can be no different than alcohol, cigarettes, or other legal vices. Now, guys such as Gregory, though, they make it seem that marijuana is addictive. And I get it. It's just I don't even want to say a handful of players, because there are half the league probably smokes marijuana, depending on what article you read. Now, according to the druguse.gov, marijuana can lead to development of problem use, known as marijuana disorder, which takes the form of addiction of several cases. Recent data suggests that 30% of those who use marijuana may have some degree of marijuana disorder. So what do you think? Should the NFL make it marijuana legal in the states that are already legal, that have legalized marijuana, or should it continue with the strict policies? And before anybody goes and says, well, what about alcohol? And look at the sponsorships that the NFL does with Bud Light, where you can get their team and how that kills people. I understand that. This is a different topic. We're not going to alcohol versus marijuana. We're talking about marijuana and what looks like an addictive nature. Should that be allowed? Pain pills also have become very addictive. We've seen how that could take lives. This is something that maybe is it the lesser of two evils? Let me know in the comment section. Also tweet me at Short Sports. Free agent wide receiver Victor Cruz. You remember him? Well, he was released by the New York Giants back on February 13th and is yet to sign with another team and has no plans to retire, though. He said Tuesday, quote, I just want to play. I'm just anxious to get on a team, anxious to play some football to see where I end up. Now, he's 30 years old, and he spent his first 7 seasons with the Giants and is 2.5 years removed from major knee surgery. But when he was thinking about other teams, he said he wouldn't mind rejoining former Giants head coach Tom Coughlin, who's now in the Jacksonville Jaguars front office. Now, he's missed the entire 2015 season and had just 39 catches for 586 yards and a touchdown in 2016. Obviously, he was kind of getting pushed out because some other rising talent in New York. So where is he going to end up? You know, I hope he does find a spot. I think he could still perform better than, you know, a good amount of receivers. I would like to see him maybe in Arizona, join the Cardinals. I know they got you already got Larry Fitzgerald, who's pretty old, but he still performs very well. You throw him in there, more leadership, more older guys, a win now type of thing, trying to get that trophy, that championship to end their career. Why not? Victor Cruz has been nothing but a winner. He played pretty well last season. Why not give him a shot? I hope someone gives him a shot to go back and play in the league this year. So, Cincinnati is now named Speed City. I just butchered that whole intro. I'm sorry. So check this out. So Billy Hamilton, in case you guys don't know, because we usually just talk football on the show, Billy Hamilton is a outfielder for the Cincinnati Reds. Now he is interested in racing NFL Combine record holder and Cincinnati Bengals new rookie wide receiver John Ross. He said, quote, "I think we could do a 40. I think it would be a good race for the city and for me and him to get our names out there. It's something we could look forward to looking into. Our agents could talk and see how it goes." That's what he said after Thursday's victory over the Pirates. Now, the 26-year-old outfielder on Thursday became the fourth fastest player in MLB history to reach 200 steals. The milestone, huge milestone. And now he said he thinks it's a foot race with the NFL rookie could become a great charity fundraiser if it can happen. And I think this is smart. It's interesting. He's not just saying just to throw his name out there or look for endorsements or whatever. He's not thinking about himself. He's saying, look, we could do this for charity. It'd be a great event for the city of Cincinnati. He went on to say, quote, "It's something I look forward to. I'm a competitor. If something happens with him, it happens. We'll do it for a charity event. I'm willing to do it." Now, of course, Ross, on the other side, he is the 9th overall pick in last week's NFL draft, going to the Cincinnati Bengals, and has set an NFL Combine record for the 40-yard dash for the fastest time of 4.22 seconds. Now, Hamilton, he said he hasn't ran a 40 since 9th grade, but he believes he's somewhere in that 4.5 range and thinks he can keep up with them. Now, I would love to see this. I would absolutely love to see Billy Hamilton and John Ross going at it in a charity event. I think it's just a perfect thing. Some charity in Ohio or in Cincinnati, get all the fans out there, do an autograph session. They could do a little, even though I know Hamilton doesn't really hit home runs, they could do a little home run derby. You could do a mix between baseball and football games going at it with each other. I think that would be fun. I'm not even a Reds fan or Bengals fan, but I would love to see this. I think it'd be awesome. Let me know in the comment section if you would like to see this. I think everybody, this would be fun. This would be some fun stuff. Now, a month after Tony Romo has retired, the former Dallas Cowboys quarterback is among nearly 1,500 players who have signed, 9,500 players who have signed up for the U.S. Open. He plays an 18-hole local qualifier on Monday at Split Rail Links and Golf Club, about 30 minutes west of Fort Worth, for those of y'all in Texas. If he advances, the next step is the sectional qualifying on June 5th to get into the U.S. Open at Earn Hills in Wisconsin. Now, for people that don't really know too much about Romo other than he plays football and now is a broadcaster, this guy is actually really good at golf. He played in all the pro-ams and was nearly at the top every time. I mean, it was basically two pros going against a pro and an amateur. Tony Romo is very good at golf, and I always said that he should have just retired. Instead of going to broadcasting, go straight into golf. Or actually, he could probably just do both like he's doing right now. Do both. You can make extra money doing that because he is definitely better than your amateur and not that bad as a professional. So, and this isn't the first time he's tried to qualify. He made it out of the local qualifying back in 2010. He knows what he's doing. And I think this would be perfect for Romo. But now, while Romo is joining CBS Sports, guess what? This morning it was announced. It was in the works yesterday on Thursday afternoon, but now Friday morning it was officially announced. Former Chicago Bears quarterback Jay Cutler has signed with Fox Sports. And he will be in the broadcast booth with Charles Davis and a few others. The thing is with him, in his contract, he's not retiring from the NFL. So therefore, he made sure that in his contract, if a team is interested and wants to bring him in at any time, whether it's right now or the last period to sign a free agent, which I think goes all the way up into the playoffs or late into the playoffs, he can then sign with them and go and play and not hurt his contract. So smart by Jay Cutler to do that. It's going to be weird to see Jay Cutler in a booth. Now, this isn't his first time in front of a camera outside of football. He did an acting thing with, if anybody watched very successful The League, it's about fantasy football. It was on Fox or FX. He was on that a couple times. Not a bad actor. So, obviously he's not acting. He's being himself, which could be weird. I don't know, but that's something. It's something, guys. It's something. New Orleans Saints running back Adrian Peterson says he wants revenge week 1 against his former team on the Vikings. Now, in an interview with the Saints website on Wednesday, Peterson joked about his return week 1 against the Vikings and said it's going to be revenge. Then he looks forward to showing the Vikings defensive players what he can do against them. Now, Peterson, he signed a 2-year deal with the New Orleans Saints back on April 25th and will play his first regular season game against the team who released him. Now, this, again, the schedule was released prior to him signing, so it wasn't like, he did it on purpose or whatever. He might have done it on purpose, actually, but he definitely made that into his consideration that he really wanted to play against the Vikings, kind of shown. But he's got the odds stacked against him, though. Not only is he knows that he'll have to split carries between Mark Ingram and rookie Alvin Kamara. He's never got off to a fast start in week 1 games. Now, he hasn't surpassed 100 yards in a regular season opener since 2009, and he hasn't rushed for more than 90 yards in a season opener since 2013. It hasn't looked good for him. And last year, before he got hurt, it was only, 10 carries for 31 yards? I didn't add the stat. It was 30-something yards in his first game. So, splitting carries now with 2 other running backs, and you got Drew Brees, who loves to air it out. Not looking too good for him. But the positive news is the Vikings, they were 20th in the league last year against the run, and they haven't ranked in the top half of the league since Mike Zimmer's took over in the past 3 years. So, maybe there's some hope for him to show out in that game. I know it's going to be a very much anticipated game for this. And he knows the defense a little bit. Obviously, he played against them for several years, his whole entire career. So I'm excited for this matchup. And let's see if we can get some revenge. Let me know if you think he'll get some revenge against the Vikings on week 1. And guess what, guys? We're going to talk some basketball. We are going to talk some basketball. How about the Wizards and the Celtics game? I swear, it seems like only in the East, those teams just seem to fight. Now, Boston and Washington, they have been fighting. It's been at least an average of 2 fights per game this series in 3 games. And, honestly, it's like, why do we even have these playoffs anymore? And I say that just because of this. It really should just be the Cavs and the Warriors. And I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to see that, but it's going to happen. I mean, check it out. Let's look at the East real quick. All right. Cavs are going to sweep whoever they're playing. I can't even remember who they're playing. Toronto. It's that bad. They're going to sweep Toronto. And then you have Boston and Washington. They're going at it. Whoever comes out of the series, it's like you just got to play a couple more games after this. You're playing 4 more games after the series because you're going to get swept. Boston is looking just not weak. They're just getting punched in the mouth. Seems like I don't know. I don't know what it is. They easily get their air sucked out of them very quickly. And Washington, I mean, are you serious? You really think Washington's going to put up a series against the Cavs? Really? No, it's not happening. So you're going to have the Cavs automatically. They're coming out of the East, right? They're going to come off fresh sweeps of everybody. They're just cleaning the house of the East. Look at the West, San Antonio. I hope they could come out of it, but Tony Parker, being hurt, which, hey, you got to look towards the future. This is probably that was probably his last game playing with them, which we're about to talk about here in a second. Houston, honestly, now the series shifts over to them. They're really in control. Even though the series is tied 1-1, they got 2 more games at home. I think they win both of them. Then you're down 3-1, and San Antonio is just not the team to come back with anymore. They can't do it. So Houston's going to come out of that. Then you have the Warriors. They're just dominating the Jazz. It's going to be the Warriors. It's going to be the Warriors. It's going to be the Cavs again. 3 years in a row. Woo, fun. I know. I don't know. We got to realign some stuff. Maybe no more East-West in the NBA. Just split it in divisions like the NFL. Just split into conferences of, I don't know. National and association. I don't know what you want to do. But we got to switch it up because we cannot have 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row of the same teams in the finals. It's just not that fun. And I know ESPN doesn't want it because guess what? The ratings, it's bad. It's bad. So, talking about the Spurs, San Antonio Spurs guard Tony Parker, he ruptured his left quadrants tendon, and he's going to miss the remainder of the playoffs. Thing is, he's 34. He had his MRI, and it showed about the injury that he suffered against the victory over the Houston Rockets in Game 2. Real quick, side note. This is why I hate what sports media is becoming, and I make sure I stay away from it and how it is. If you guys didn't listen or hear, and most Spurs fans heard about this, Colin Hurd. I always get them mixed up. Colin Hurd of Fox's The Hurd Show. He straight up said it's the end of the dynasty for the San Antonio Spurs after they lost against Houston in Game 1, which it was a bad loss. And that's all you had to say. It's a bad loss. You don't have to go and got to make that outrageous comment that the dynasty's over. And then San Antonio comes back and wins Game 2. He thought they were going to just lose the series and get swept. And look what happened. Sports media is basically, you could say the most outrageous thing, the stupidest thing, get views, get ratings, get outraged ratings, blow up, and you could be completely wrong about it, and no one seems to call them out. I'm just saying, that's side note, pet peeve. Sorry. Back to the real story here. So, Parker's 34. He's hurt. Probably the last game we've seen with him in San Antonio, I think. His 10.1 points per game in the regular season were his lowest since entering the league as a rookie back in 2001. But he averaged 15.9 points per game on 53% shooting in these 8 playoff games. Now, this is a thing. Now, San Antonio's right now, if you look at their roster and their contract setup, it's very tight. And they really can't go after anybody. Thing is, some things can happen. Now, you've got... let's see what we have here. Manu Ginobili's up. Mills is up. Gasol looks to opt in. And you also have Parker. If you have Ginobili retire and or leave, which he almost did, Patty Mills is most likely to leave because of money unless San Antonio signs him to a longer deal. Gasol is probably going to opt in. Parker, it might be time for him to go. You can go and get someone who is turning 32, has yet to even reach a conference final, and everybody clowns on him. A guy named Chris Paul. He's getting older. He understands he needs to win a championship. Looks like the Clippers are about to get split up. Blake Griffin's most likely leaving. DeAndre Jordan, he signed that long-term deal, but maybe he wants out and once he gets traded. Who knows? Chris Paul's going to have nobody, and the Clippers are going to once again suck. So he sees that, and he says, what's the best chance of winning a championship with the team that they got? Now, before all the Cavs fans and, all the LeBron lovers and go and say, oh, he's going to go sign, go look at their roster. No, unless Kevin Love gets traded, which won't happen. There's no way Chris Paul can sign with the Cavs. There's just no money. There's absolutely nothing. And if you think so, please go look it up and then come back and let me know. Now, San Antonio, they're a little tight, but again, if Ginobili, Mills, and Parker all leave, it frees up a little bit of money, and Simmons is most likely gone as well. You got some room. If Chris Paul says, I want to win a championship, or at least have a better chance of winning a championship, let me go take a pay cut and go sign with San Antonio. Because he's not going to go sign with anybody in the East because he knows that's just a trap. Unless you sign with the Cavs, which can't happen, there's no one in the East that he can win with. Go to the West. Well, San Antonio has a good shot now with Chris Paul. I mean, think about the roster you would then have. You would have Chris Paul, Kawhi Leonard, LaMarcus Aldridge, Paul Gasol, and now all the other bench players that San Antonio has that are developing. You got a pretty good team right there. That's Danny Green. It's pretty solid. Chris Paul should take a pay cut, a very friendly veteran's pay cut, and think about winning a ring and not being labeled as a guy who could never even make a conference final. Not one. Goose egg. Time to win a championship and not think about the money. You've made enough money. State Farm, they still pay you. You're okay. So that's the end of today's show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Oh, man. It was good. We talked about a lot of good stuff. Lots of good stuff. Talking about some basketball. I told you guys we would talk some basketball now. Well, what's the playoffs? 62 games? No, that's baseball. 82 games. My fault. See, it just seems like a lot already. It just seems like too much. We've already talked about before in past discussions that the NBA needs to not have as many games. They need to cut it down to like 60 something. Make it a little bit more easier to actually be involved. It's just too much. 82 games, that's just too much. It's too much. But anyways, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. If you did, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Link is in the description no matter where you're listening to. If you're listening to the show on iTunes, be sure to give us a rating. If you do, I'll send you a shirt and you get a shout out on the show. So be sure to do that, a rating and on iTunes, and you get a free shirt. iHeartRadio, iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, YouTube. Thank you guys so much. I love you all, and I will see you guys next Friday morning. As always, God first, God bless. I'm out. Peace.